Well, welcome back. Welcome back to the Extraordinary Drummer Show. As you know, I'm your host, Cheron Moore. I always say today, today, today. I was just telling my guests, you get all these drummers on the show, and then you get this guy, and your hands start doing like this. You get nervous. You help me welcome my guest today. I'm looking forward to this one. Anthony Beverly. Hey, Anthony.
My man. What's up?
Welcome to the Extraordinary Drummer Show.
Man, thanks for having me.
This is truly our honor. As I said in the notes, you're one of the highly requested guys over the years of doing this show. So I'm glad you're on.
Oh man, thanks for having me. It's my pleasure to be here.
Before I get you started, I'll ask you, how you doing with all this COVID stuff? You all right? How you doing all this stuff?
It affected, obviously it affected everybody, but, it slowed me down for a hot minute. I actually ended up catching it. So it slowed me down. Yeah, it slowed me down like a lot, but, I bounced back, I stayed strong. I'm good.
Sure. Good to hear. Good to hear. You originally from Philly?
Born and raised.
What is it about Dayton, Ohio and Philly that everything came out of there?
Both places, Dayton, Ohio, and Philly, they just have a lot of great musicians come out of there. Yeah.
Let's talk about your father, the legend, yeah. Frankie Beverly, lead singer of the group Frankie, Beverly, and Mays. Come on, man. Come on, man.
My dude.
Oh, I let you go.
That's my dude. Yeah.
What's that like?
It's a typical father-son relationship for me. You know what I mean? He's not who he is. I mean, he's who he is, but for me, that's my father. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times we get together, we talk music, and then most of the time we don't. It's real cool. We got a really cool relationship. And the older I get, the better it gets, you know what I mean? So it's been real cool. It's actually real cool.
Were you influenced by your father?
Absolutely. I played with my dad for about 2 years or so. And that was what one would call groove school. Learning how to, I had no idea. I knew how to play pocket and all that stuff until I got up on that stage with him. And it was like, okay, I need you to pull that snare drum back. I need you to pull that kick drum back, but don't lose time. So I'm sitting there like, what? You know what I mean? But I understand, I understood it more as I, played with him more and stuff like that.
Was he harder on you or a little lighter on you because you're the son?
Oh my God, my seat, that drum chair in that band, no matter who's sitting in it, is always on fire, right? When I was sitting in that drum chair, that heat was extra. It was like that. That was extra hot. Because he could say different things to me that he couldn't say to other guys. Not bad things, but just growling. He growls on stage like it's tough. He's since slowed down in his older age. But man, that is the toughest gig I've ever done.
Anthony, how did you get interested in drums? And then I'm going to come to some history stuff here. How did you get interested in drums with your father being a singer and not you being interested in something else like singing or something?
Nah, never. That gene skipped me. That singing gene skipped me. I tell you though, my two daughters, both of them sing like birds.
Wow.
Yeah, but me. Nah, that skipped me. And it skipped my son too, because he's not a singer.
I read where you started playing drums at 4 years old.
My mom used to say, I would go and pull out, the usual, pull out the pots and pans and grab 2 butter knives or something like that and sit there and play the drums. And she always tells a story about me. My dad bought me a Mickey Mouse drum set, and she said he was setting it up and I couldn't wait to get on it. And he was like pushing me out of the way, trying to get me to let him set it up before I got on it,
Take me to high school. What was the scene? Did you do any of that marching drum and stuff, that bugle call, any of that stuff? What was the scene in high school?
I did. There was we had like the VFW post kind of thing in my neighborhood growing up. And I did that, God, it was like probably from the time I was 13 to maybe 17, maybe. And I was I was like the lead snare drum player, if you will. And that was just my thing, and I actually loved it, playing the snare drum.
Working with your father and Frankie, Beverly, and Mays, was that your first big gig?
No. That was my first gig was actually I was 19. And I was playing with artist Christopher Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played with him for a couple of years. And then after that, I went to Troop for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I played on, some of their records and stuff like that.
Tell me about playing with Cameo. What was that like?
Whew, man, where do I begin with that? How I got the gig, I was over in Europe with McKay. And I was just sitting there. They were doing a line check. And I was just warming the kid up, sitting around just, doing. And then I was playing some 2 and 4 and, and I turn around and Larry Blackman's standing behind the drum riser. I'm like, what? I mean, now he's already dressed for his show. He was actually getting ready. He had just came off stage. I mean, he got on all the black, the cod piece. And I'm standing there like, come on, man. Why do you have that on, first of all? But we ended up talking to him and I ended up talking to him and he asked me if I was available for a few days. I said, absolutely. I said, he said he'll have his managers or whoever reach out to me and let me know what dates he needed, somebody to cover. I said, okay, fine. So I get home. I'm like, I'm about to be playing with Cameo.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Anthony Beverly. Come on, y'all.
Tell me about working with that group, the McKay Allstars.
The first time we played Fantasy with the real guitar parts, I was smiling the whole time I was playing. I'm playing the 16th on the hi-hat, and I'm sitting there smiling. I was going through a thing, man. Just to hear those parts being played because he played on those records, you know what I mean? So, but man, that's actually a fun gig.
You want my love and you can't deny.
Anthony, let's talk a little drum technique.
Okay.
You're probably one of the most solid pocket drummers. Talk about staying straight. Boy, you could set a metronome or quantize next to this guy to be straight across the bar, just like that, boy. How do you do that? How do you discipline your mind to stay that straight? And where does that fat, strong pocket come from?
Like I said, it's working with artists who make you play that way. Not everybody wants a chopper. Not everybody wants somebody that's just all over the place, wants a bunch of fills and stuff like that. And, I just always gravitated towards just playing time, and, sometimes, I'll slip up and rush a fill here and there, but for the most part, I just lock in and hope. Like, it's funny, like if I get a call, first thing I always ask is who's playing bass, because I want to make sure that I'm playing with somebody that I can really lock with.
Anthony, let's talk endorsements. What endorsements are you doing? Drums, cymbals, and so forth.
Pearl Drums. I've been with Pearl since 2000. I want to say 2003. And I love them. They love me. It's a cool relationship. When I lived in Atlanta, I used to go. I would drive up to Nashville and go hang out every once in a while, and get some stuff that I probably didn't need. But Pearl Drums, Sabian Cymbals. Been with Sabian since 2004. and Vader, Vader drumsticks. I've been with Vader since 2000, maybe 2000, 99, 2000. Yeah. And drum dots, they're these little gels, and you stick them on the drum, kind of like moon gel, but just a little bit different. They don't take up as much space, but they still do the same job. You know what I mean? And they come in different sizes. Like they have real big ones for like your floor tom or your snare drum if you want to choke it that much, and small ones for the rack times.
Anthony, we have a thing on the show that we do. It's called Word of Advice.
Okay.
I ask the guests if they'll leave a word of advice for the up and coming drummers, for the guys that are trying to get traction in this game, and even the older guys.
Right.
Would you leave them a word of advice, please?
Oh man, where to start? I think if you're an artist, like you're a drummer and you're starting out and you're getting your first gigs, listen to the music, play what you hear on the records, which is most important, and don't put a whole lot of yourself into it. You hear stories like, I hear guys say, I'm gonna play this like I would have played it. Like, you can't do that. You didn't play on those records. So you can't do that. You have to listen to what's on those records and play what's on those records. And, be teachable. Be teachable. That's a lot of, I see that a lot, and I hear all this stuff, about these guys, and they get these gigs and then they lose gigs, because of their attitudes or whatever. You have to be teachable. You have to be able to be told what to do, what to play, when to play it. 100%.
I'll put another one there right after this question. Anthony, what do you think of these younger guys that's blazing all over the kit and playing across the bar and
Man,
that stuff?
When you think about it, right? If you really put your ear to it, it's like, okay, you sitting there, you doing all these chops and these fills, and it's basically Swiss Army triplets or something like that. You know what I mean? It's weird. I like facility, like real facility. Like, when you hear somebody play, that they can actually play, and they're not playing what everybody else is playing. Excuse me, wait a second. They're not playing what everybody else is playing. You know what I mean? And I like drummers with different styles. I love Chris Dave. I like some of the stuff, his approach on things. But like a lot of these, a lot of the guys, and the choppy, to get around the kit in the middle of a verse thing, it makes my blood boil. Because and that's not, it works for some styles. Like, it's for gospel music, that's what they do. You know what I mean? So, but like, they go and they do these R&B gigs and they chop through it, and the artists are like, wait, that wasn't there. Like, why are you doing that? I've seen that happen a few times.
I read somewhere where you won a Stellar Award.
Yeah. One of my dad's songs, I Want to Thank You. We had, I talked, Donald Lawrence is a friend of mine. We go way back to like the mid to late 80s. And I asked him to produce that song because I wasn't going to be able to get it done. And I called him and asked him to be able to do it. And he stepped up and did it. And he got the Clark sisters, Kiara Sheard, and they went in and murdered this record and actually ended up getting the Stellar Award for it.
Anthony, somebody's going to ask me this question. Why didn't I ask it? So I want to get it in. How are you like your father, and how are you not like your father?
I think I'm a lot like him in musically. I think I'm a lot like him. I have his ears, And I listen to music, and if it's not right, oh my God, I just want to cut my ears off. You know what I mean? It's like that. I have his ears for sure. But I'm definitely a little bit different. But I think we approach music the same way for sure.
Anthony, we do a thing on the show where in parting, I always ask the guest, always ask the drummer this question. Anthony, what would you want your legacy to be? How would you want it to be said, to be told?
My legacy? I think I would, want somebody to say that they learned, not so much that they learned, but I inspired them to play pocket. You know what I mean? I inspired them to, play the music the right way. I would want that because that's important to me. Just play the music the way it's supposed to be played. You know what I mean? And I would like to know that somebody got that from me. If they heard me say it or if they saw me do it, I would like to know that I was on somebody's mind when somebody else asked them.
Anthony, let me say thank you so very much for being on the Extraordinary Drummer Show. Did you have a good time?
I had a blast. I knew we were going to have a good time. When we emailed, I was like, this is going to be fun. But man, my pleasure. I'm glad you asked me to come on the show. I've had a good time. This is good. And this is good for you to do this for other drummers to, knowing, guys behind the scenes that don't make a lot of noise. You know what I mean? You just know you can learn something from some of the guys you have on your show. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you for having this platform.
Anthony, would you help us wave goodbye to all the fans, all the audience?
It's good fun.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being on. Why was your father so hard on drummers?
You know why? Because he plays drums and in his head, he hears it a certain way. So if it's not being played that way, it takes him through a thing. You know what I mean? It really takes him through a thing if he's not hearing what he hears in his head from his drummer. You know what I mean? I get speechless just trying to explain what that is. You know what I mean? Yeah.